Namaste everyone. I welcome you all for today's session on data mining. This is a very interesting site, last night's study / data mining. You can search it on the Google. Otherwise, the link is given in the description box as well. I will share it with you. So I found this site very, very useful. You've got all the explanation given here with the tabs on the left. Okay, so we will go one by one. We have already taken an introduction session about the interrelation about data mining and machine learning. And in brief, what is data mining? Just let's know the highlights. Data mining refers to extraction of information from large amount of data. So data are the raw facts and information is the processed data. For example, we have got the marks of the students. So information will be the percentage calculated from the marks of the students. Okay. So marks will not change. They are the facts. The student has got such and such of marks. That is raw fact. Okay. But we try to extract information, means we try to extract the percentage. Then we can have list of students greater than 60. That can be another information. We can have list of the students who have not registered for the fees properly. We can have those list of students. Okay, so we can extract n number of information from the given data. In today's world, data mining is very important because of huge amount of data. We can see that on Google there are a lot of data available. To extract the information what we want is not easily possible because the data is growing day by day. Okay, the example which I gave you earlier is the more clothes we have, the more time we require to get the appropriate attire for the respective occasion. Okay, if you have less number of clothes, it's very easy to uh, take it out. So it's the basic of database management system that if we manage the data properly, we access the data properly, faster. So the main reason of all these things, data mining, machine learning, and DBMS is to extract the data faster. Purpose of DBMS and data minus to extract the data faster, not only faster, but also to extract the apt data. Why? Because data is increasing day by day. So because of that, machine learning technology are used in order to process data fast. So ultimately, to perform data mining, we require machine learning algorithms. But there are specifically, so machine learning algorithms are basically you make the system expert to extract information or maybe knowledge or maybe intelligence. You make the machine intelligence. So machine learning and machine intelligence and expert systems, they are again interrelated topics. So it is a stream of data mining itself because we are doing all this to extract information from the large data, that is specifically data mining. But if we modify the existing machine learning algorithms for data mining, then those algorithms are called as data mining algorithms. So you have to understand that these all are interrelated, right? So you can't say that data mining algorithm cannot be used in machine learning. It cannot be used in machine intelligence. It cannot be used in artificial intelligence. Yes, they are ultimately, their background and the grounding is the same. So data mining is also called as knowledge discovery in database, popularly known as KDD. So let's see about the architecture. We have got a graphical user interface from which the client interacts. Even we as a database designer can be the user interface. Then there is a pattern evaluation because as said in our last lecture that any data mining, if you are trying to extract information, actually you are trying to extract the patterns. If you get a pattern, you try to develop a relationship through those patterns and then you design the algorithm. Because in algorithm, you have a sequence of steps that are repeated, right? So algorithm sequence of steps that are repeated is nothing but a pattern. That's why pattern mining designing is nothing but the data mining algorithm. Then you have the data mining engine in which you feed the patterns or the pattern algorithms. And then you you interact this engine with your database server where all the databases is there. And finally, when you extract the raw data, you need to first clean it. and you need to filter it, and then you can again go through this process and you will get the response to the user for which it had requested. So I'll repeat: the client requests, it goes to the pattern in for which it is requesting, it will find the pattern relatively, then it will go through the algorithms, then it will go to the database server directly, the raw facts are cleaned, and then it is filtered. The filtering data is the data which is required by the response to the client. Only specific that data is being accessed, it is filtered, and then the steps are repeat and the client gets the response. Okay, so for these two things, it has to go through the knowledge database. That means knowledge database, just now we said it is KDD related to data mining. So in these two things, data mining would play the major role in this entire architecture. So what is a data warehouse? Now see, it is very good site. Whatever is explained, everything you get it in brief. So even if you miss certain point in the presentation, or rather if it becomes very lengthy to hear the presentations, you can always go through each and every definition over here. So whatever I explained, it is given here in depth. Now going to the data mining techniques. So some of the very important and famous techniques used are the association rule, the classification, the clustering, sequential patterns, the decision tree. We'll go one by one. What is association technique? Now, before going to the data mining techniques, we should go actually to the knowledge discovery process. So coming to this knowledge discovery process, we will see this steps one by one. This is very, very important for a data mining designer. The first is that you have databases. Okay, this is the entire data you have. Okay, now as said that you can go through the UCI repository site where a lot of databases, live databases, you know, they have been recorded for student research. So you can even go there, or if you are working in some data mining projects, companies live data, you can even refer those databases for your algorithm design. And in fact, in all the data warehousing, this is done. So first is the cleaning. You clean the data. Okay. Then next step, during the data warehouse, you integrate the data. Okay, then you get the selected data which is your requirement. Then you perform the data mining algorithms for the task relevant data, for which the data mining will actually do the pattern evaluation, and after that pattern evaluation you get the knowledge. So this is the entire process. So the first step is data cleaning, in which the noise and inconsistent data is removed. Okay, so whatever is the unwanted data, that is removed. You can even go over your left. You can see this is given in detail over here. Let's click. I'm giving you this site so that it is quite self-explanatory. Okay, you can go through that later also in detail. So data cleaning phase in the data mining process, it is what? It is the quality of your data in critical in getting to final analysis. Okay, so you want the quality of data. Okay, you can't just take all the data which has even the redundant data, you know, noisy data. Unnecessarily, you will spend the time on this data which is not required. So even if you spend, say, even 5% of your time in cleaning the data, your lot of time will be saved later in accessing the data. So any data which tend to be incomplete, noisy, and inconsistent can affect your result. So data mining and data mining process of detecting and removing corrupt and inaccurate records from the record set table or the database, that is data cleaning. So what can be that data? You can use the methods, cleaning methods. They are, you can ignore the tuple. This is done when class label is missing. But this method is not very effective unless tuples contain several attributes with missing values. Okay, if lot of data is missing in that tuple, then definitely you can delete it. But if say one or two tuples are attributes are missing, then you can fill it. Okay, or maybe there are certain different algorithms how to handle missing values. Okay, you can even search on the net. There are various IEEE papers uh, how to handle missing data. Even this can be your project, because automatically your OLAP and OLTP, in our previous lectures, we had understood about OLAP databases. So while creating the summary from the online databases, we need to handle the missing values. So you can incorporate certain algorithms to handle this, and then finally convert your OLTP, online transaction processing data, to the OLAP data. This is online analytical data, that is summarized data. So next thing, you can fill in the missing values manually. This approach is effective on small data set. Okay, if you have say 10 lakh rows, then it's not possible that manually can be done. You can replace all missing values with global constant. Okay, or you can use attribute mean to fill the missing values. So this can be one of the algorithm that you calculate the mean and fill the values. Of course, this entire topic is in much detail how to handle the missing values. Okay, it is itself a interesting research topic. But right now, just understand that the first step of data mining process is data cleaning. That means to take out the unwanted, incomplete, missing values or the noisy data. So the second part is the noisy data. So it is the random error or the variance in a measured value. What is a noise? It is a random error or variance. So noise data may be due to faulty data collection instruments, data entry problems, and technology lifting. So there can be n number of reasons, okay, why the data is noisy. For example, now I am delivering the lecture. Okay, in between there is some voice cracking, internet connection problem, maybe in the speaker some dirt has gone, or maybe at the background there is some flight going on, so there will be a noise of that. So there can be unlimited reasons. So how to handle the noisy data? One step is binning. So binning method sorted data values by consulting its neighborhood. That is, you consult the neighborhood data values, okay, around it. The sorted values are distributed into the number of buckets or bins. That is why it is called binning, okay, because it is putting it into the bins. It is distributing it into the bins. Okay. So for example, if price is 4, 8, 15, 21, 21, 24, 25, 28, and 34, partition into equal frequency bins. Okay. Your requirement is that you want to partition these values in equal frequency. So how it will be done? In bin A, you put 4, 8, and 15. In bin B, you put values ranging from say 20 to 25. This is values less than 20. It seems, this is quite natural. This has been done manually. You have to think about it. So if you see that how many data is there, and if you see the pattern, quite intelligently as a human, you can develop an algorithm that first data can be between less than 20, less can be between 20 to 25, or maybe between 20 and less than 25, and greater or equal to 25 can be the third bin. Okay, so in this way, the bin has been distributed into 3 parts. Okay. Then another smoothing by bin means that if bin A has 999, bin B has 2222, bin C has 29, 29, 29. How this is calculated? Each value in a bin is replaced by the mean value of the bin. So you calculate the mean value and you put it in the bin. Okay. Similarly, another way is by bin boundaries. So you can even fix the boundaries the same way as the first method. Okay, like less than 20, less than greater than 20, and less than 25, and greater than 25. Okay, first method was that the data for price are first sorted and then partitioned, because it may not that this is in a sorted order. Okay, right here it is written in a sorted order, but it may not always that the data is the sorted order. So first method was to convert it into a sorted order and partition it into 3 equal parts. Okay, another example can be, suppose if we sort the names by alphabetically, and we divide the bucket size or the segment size in our memory also as an operating system designer. So you can see that the names starting with A are very much and the names starting with Z are very less. So if you make the bucket size fixed, you know, the buckets with the names A will overflow, and with the bucket with the name Z will be mostly vacant. Okay, so you need to rethink about the data patterns, okay, how the live data will be, and accordingly you have to decide the binning boundaries, right? And that, you know, human, see, even if you are making an expert system, a machine learning artificial intelligence system, it is artificially intelligence. That means machine itself is not intelligent. You are feeding such an algorithm which will make it intelligent. So ultimately this algorithm, a man has to decide, a man has to design. Okay, and because man has a limitation that it cannot compute so many numbers or maybe tuples at a time, which a computer is ready to do, but you have to make the machine artificially intelligent. So this algorithm you have to decide manually. You have to create your own intelligence by thinking that, see, yes, the names starting with A are definitely much more than the names starting with Z. This machine will not understand this. You have to feed it in the algorithm, and then the machine will become artificially intelligent to understand this and handle your data. So coming to the next technique by which cleaning can be done is that data can be smoothened by fitting the data in the regression functions. Okay, now what is regression? Regression is basically, you know, it takes a group of random variables thought to be predicting y, you know, and tries to find a mathematical relationship between them. So you can just take n number of random variables, form a group, and your purpose is that you want to predict some output as y, and you try to find out some mathematical relationship between them. It is basically pattern mining again. Okay, so data mining or machine learning, the main thing everywhere is pattern mining, and that pattern is lot of time refers to as relationship. If even if you have learned DBMS, it's a relational design SQL which you are using. Okay, so relation is nothing but the pattern. You say that this primary key and this foreign key has a similar pattern of data actually. That's why they are related to each other. So a relation is typically in the form of straight line, okay, in a linear regression, and best approximates all the individual data points. We are going to have a separate lecture on this regression technique, but right now just understand that regression is a group of random variables and tries to find out a mathematical relationship. So even by this relationship pattern, you can find the groupings and bins, and then you can smoothen by the way mentioned here. Okay, by this technique you can perform the cleaning process. Last but not the least here for the cleaning process is clustering. Okay, so now when we will learn about classification and clustering, then we will also learn that there are nothing but outliers. Now let's make it simple over here. These are the clusters, 3 clusters. These 3 clusters are having the items which are of similar patterns, and that's why they are grouped into this one cluster. These all members are having some similarity. That's why they are grouped into this cluster, and this is grouped into this cluster. Now these are 3 dots which are outside these clusters. Since they are not in any of the cluster, they are called as outliers. Out means outside the clusters. Now what we have to do, we have to fit these outliers somewhere in any of the cluster, and we have to find out the relationship which is best suitable for this cluster. Okay, now if you ask me as a common sense, see, this point is very near to this cluster rather than this and this, so I will put this point here. May not be, maybe very similar to this group, but it is more similar to this group rather than this group and this group. So this is how outliers are handled. So sometimes cleaning noise is also with the help of these outliers, and if you delete those outliers at times, you know, your data becomes uh, inconsistent. So you need to handle outliers. As a researcher in data mining or machine learning, I will really tell you that even like missing values is a research topic, handling missing values, even handling outlier detection is also a research topic. Okay, but you need to enhance the outlier detection in n number of applications in deep, then only it can become a pure research. Okay, so these are the different things how cleaning can be done in your knowledge discovery process, right? This is the cleaning part. Now, likewise, you can go through each of the steps, and through this site, it is very, very easy to understand the entire KDP. Okay, so coming now in brief, later you can go through each. Now, if you want to go to the data integration, okay, so second step is in which multiple data sources are combined. So you can directly go onto this left and search here. Okay, so you will get all the things related to data integration. So basically in any project, many times it happens that you need to have different type of data sources. Maybe you will have images, you will have text, you will have audio, you will have video. So you have to collect data from different formats, or maybe even from, say, some one company you can get data, another company you can get data, and when you evaluate it on an equal level, then you can try to get a very perfect type of algorithm. So the point is here, data integration is basically a data processing technique which combines all data from multiple sources and provide users a unified view of these sources. So the client will get a unified view, whereas internally it is getting the data from all the sources, right? So there are mainly two approaches. First is tightly coupled and loosely coupled. Okay, so the definitions are given here. It is the part of tightly coupled is the part of ETL. Okay, where you have extraction, transformation, and loading. Now, in tightly coupled data is combined from different sources in single physical location, right? So tightly coupled means it is a shared kind of a memory. If you have gone through distributed systems, you can even go on the YouTube channel of mine. There is a topic on distributed systems where I have discussed about tightly coupled and loosely coupled in detail. But just to summarize here, that tightly coupled is when you have a common memory. All the processes are using the shared memory, whereas loosely coupled means they have got their independent memory. Okay, that's why they are loosely coupled. Since they have got their own independent memory, they become more independent systems, and that's why they are loosely coupled. In tightly coupled, the processes become more dependent on each other. The very good example is your multi-processing system is a tightly coupled system, whereas your multi-computer system is a loosely coupled system. Okay, so your data distributed system is basically a tightly coupled system, because in distributed system you are basically having the shared memory and you are working for a common problem. The only thing is you have shared the load on different processors. But in multi-computer system, the example is parallel systems, where you have got your own memory, your own CPU, your own input and devices, and the purpose is that everybody is working on different problem statements parallelly. Okay, for example, LAN, local area network. In local area network, you have got one server. It feels that everybody is getting data individually, but actually it is a concept of distributed system where the fraction of second is so less that everybody feels that they are getting their data at the same instance. But no, there is a difference, and that is why the difference is parallel systems and concurrent systems. The difference between concurrent transactions and simultaneous transactions. What is the difference? Concurrent transactions are, they are pipelined in such a way that your resources are utilized, but that doesn't mean that at one instance two processes are going at a time, because concurrent system means only one processor is there. It is handling the system in such a time that the waiting time is decreased and you feel that you are at the priority. But in parallel systems, it is at one instance two things are done parallelly. That means you will require two processors. It cannot be handled by one processor. So these all are concepts which are related to the approaches to data integration. Now again, if you go to the data mining process, the third part is the selection. So next step in the data mining process is the selection, in which data relevant to analysis tasks are retrieved from the database. So again, if you go over here, okay, you will get about the selection. Now, selection is also referred as reduction of the data. So basically, you are selecting means from the entire 10,000 records. If suppose you selected only 2,000 records which are relevant to you, so you have ultimately reduced the data. That is why selection is also called as reduction. So you can click here and you can go into the detail. Next is you will find the algorithms also. Even data feature selection, feature reduction, data reduction, they are also a separate stream of research in data mining and machine algorithms, which a lot of students are working on. The next is data transformation. Okay. So likewise, you can even go for data transformation on the left hand side. So as you can see that this site is very, very handy for the entire data mining concepts. Right? And this all we had discussed in our previous lectures. So we will stop for the day, and maybe next time in our next presentation, we will talk about the data mining techniques in detail. Thank you for your patience listening. If you have any doubt, please mail me, okay, or post your questions on the group. I will be very happy to solve your doubts.